World Tag League is over, and while they took a roundabout way of getting there, we got our predicted Los Ingobernables victory and the expected Wrestle Kingdom match between Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi. Still, injuries have taken a serious hold on things, and we won't be seeing Naito until the Tokyo Dome, and we won't be seeing Callum Newman or Hanare for quite a while at all, sadly. We're also going to look at the Tokyo Sports Awards for this year. We're going to cover the Tag League Finals, of course. We're going to preview Strong Style Evolved. And we have news coming up for the Christmas Korakuens, which are the only shows on NJPW World until the Tokyo Dome after we get through this show in Long Beach. So we are really coming down to only the last few New Japan shows until we get to the big weekend for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. Still plenty of news to go over, though, and we're going to cover it all. With Jeremy Finestone, I'm Stephen Conway, and this is Speaking of Strong Style. Yeah, I like that introduction. That's just a cool batch of sounds we hear before we get on this train here. Well, how you doing, Jeremy? Did you enjoy the World Tag League Finals?
Sure, it was fine. I mean,
it was fine.
Like, it didn't. Nothing changed anything for me, like, fundamentally in the way of shape or form of wrestling. But for a couple hours of good pro wrestling, sure. The one takeaway was the ending, and that was that.
Now we're doing this live, and of course, you folks out there know this. We are having some weather here, so if I freeze up and vanish, Jeremy, just try to cover for me a little bit until I get back on here. So things in Texas a little strange with our internet's going
here, but apparently you have it worse than I do. So let's rock and roll, my friend.
We have some people here. Dunstan's here. Glad to see you, Dunstan. We'll get to your questions, of course. Colin is here after watching that Euro game there between Tottenham Hotspur and Rangers, the 1-1 draw. Glad you made it over with us. And, yeah, so we have some news. Now, we're going to cover World Tag League like I mentioned. We did get news, though, that we wanted to get to here, and that is that Tetsuya Naito is in for Wrestle Kingdom, his match with Hiromu Takahashi, but he is out for the previews. So there are several Road to the Tokyo Dome shows. The only ones that are going to be on NJPW World are from Korakuen Hall, but they are going to a few other towns along the way. Tetsuya Naito will not be there, though, because mentioned that he is having another surgery on his left eye. This has been a troublesome spot for Naito for quite a while. It looks like he's going to get it worked on there and be back in time for the Dome, but Naito not on the Road to Tokyo Dome show as they're keeping him together with wire hangers and scotch tape until he can get into that ring with Hiromu Takahashi on the 4th.
So this is super weird, right? He's had 3 surgeries on his right eye, and he can't get more surgeries on it. So do you know what they're doing with his left eye?
No.
They are going to align it with how his right eye is calibrated so that his left eye will be in sync with his right eye. Because that's how they figured that they could keep the sustainability of his vision. Because they can't do the surgery on the right eye. It was a 3 and you're done, right? So they are finding a corrective balance. And this is why he hasn't been able to hit Tostinos. This is why he hasn't been able to run the ropes. One foot feels like he's going down like a ramp, while the other foot feels like he is going on a flat surface.
Man. So, it's very difficult to handle that.
When I said at the end of the Hiroshi Tanahashi cut, there's a little bit about Naito ending his retirement. When that dude is done, he's done. I feel like we're getting a quiet retirement to where Naito right now, because if this is the way that his eyesight is going, he's got a few punch cards left on the amount of matches that he can do.
And Colin says, this might be the first year I give Wrestle Kingdom a miss. We'll need to take a good look at the final card. You already have NJPW World, Colin. I mean, you're not paying any extra for it. And when we look at the card, you can't say these aren't good matches. I understand if you're talking about this isn't the sexiest looking card as far as generating interest. The ticket prices are going to be the ticket sales are probably not going to be up from last year. I'd imagine they're going to be down from last year, just based on the product not being hot and this Wrestle Kingdom, which we're going to get into as we preview it more, is going to be more about setting up 2025 than paying off 2024. But when it comes down to it, I think there are some great matches on this show. I understand that it's not, what we expect from Wrestle Kingdom as far as the pageantry and maybe some of the absolutely positively can't miss this moment type of thing. But the matches they have on this show, I think are going to be excellent.
The more I've been thinking about it, and we've been talking, right, about how underwhelmed we felt about, say, Shota Umino main eventing the Dome with Zack. The narrative of how they got to Hiromu and Naito, we sniffed that out pretty early, along with a bunch of other people, that this was going to be a match that was happening. And with Yuya Uemura out, it ended up being Yota Tsuji versus David Finlay.
Yeah,
and
Uemura being away there. You froze up just a second there. Go ahead.
Sorry. With Yuya Uemura being out, it ended up being Yota Tsuji and David Finlay. And, there ended up being this idea that the whole card is kind of underwhelming. And that kind of puts in a position for the entire promotion to buck the expectation and just have a banger show.
Mm-hmm.
Just like blow everyone away with that. You know what? You think that we were down in the dumps? We're going to prove something to you, and we're going to have a hell of a show, and we're just going to do it.
I was going to say, depending on what Naito is physically capable of doing, depending on what Tanahashi is physically capable of doing, remove those two with guys that are just beat to hell. And one of them has Hiromu Takahashi in it, so it won't be too bad. Sure. And then the other one, Tanahashi and Evil's probably going to be rough sailing. However,
that's like second or third on the card.
Right. Look at the top half of this card. Most of these are can't miss matches.
Yeah, we have the lineup top to bottom. It's like the second match on the card is the Stardom. It's the Stardom match with the IWGP title.
That'll be fantastic.
The third and fourth is the TV title and Tanahashi and Evil. And then you're going into the IWGP tag title. You're going to the never open weight match. You're going to the junior heavyweight match. You're going to Hiromu and Naito. And you're going to the IWGP. It's a really great card. And you're not paying anything extra for it. If you feel like New Japan isn't for you this year, I get that. But I do think that there will be a sense of, why did I miss that show? When I think there's a lot of inclination and inspiration to buy the talent to really kick some ass this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Could be a hell of a match.
All right, now let's take a look at the Tokyo Sports Awards, which came out this past week. And, of course, Tokyo Sports, one of several weekly magazines in Japan that cover pro wrestling. They cover other things, too, but they do cover pro wrestling. There's also Pro Wrestling Weekly and things. There's some other publications, but Tokyo Sports is a big one. Sometimes you hear the guys talking to the reporters from Tokyo Sports during backstage comments. And they presented their awards. And Zack Sabre Jr. was awarded the MVP of the year. And I believe that this is the first time in, 20 years or something that a foreign wrestler
22.
has... 22 years since a foreign wrestler won the MVP award. So think about that. Kenny Omega never did it. Some of the other great... Jay White never did it.
Brock Lesnar didn't do it.
Brock didn't do it. Will Ospreay didn't do it. And
you know who did?
Who was the last one to do it?
Bob Sapp, 2002.
Yeah, and well deserved, by the way. It's funny to look back on now, but when he was in K1, when he was partially in New Japan, Bob Sapp was one of the biggest sports stars in the entire country. Right. And if you've ever seen Bob Sapp, just imagine a much larger version of Bobby Lashley. It's really the only way I can really put it. It was just a staggering specimen of a human being back then.
If a man ate Bobby Lashley and accumulated his mass.
Yeah, terrifying. Yeah, exactly. He's like one of those evolution in those games you do where you level somebody up and the monster gets bigger and it's like Bobby Lashley and then you go up a couple of notches and it's Bob Sapp. But Bob Sapp, the last one, Zack Sabre Jr. did it this year. So our guy Zack there is the MVP. And let's go through the others because New Japan won a couple. They try to spread these out among the promotions. So it's very rare for one promotion to dominate these awards. And indeed, we have representatives from several companies. We're going to talk about them here. But the best match was a bit of a surprise. It was a New Japan match, just not the one I thought it would be, Jeremy. Again, part of the thing maybe to spread these awards out. But MVP Zack Sabre Jr., best match, Yota Tsuji and Hiroki Goto from the New Japan Cup Finals. And I thought that was an interesting choice. I actually thought that Zack and Shingo their world title match was a better match. It's one of my favorite matches of the whole year. But again, in efforts to spread things around a little bit, Tsuji and Goto was a brilliant match and a fine choice.
So Hiroki Goto had a hell of a year, man.
Oh, man.
A renaissance man, in singles division throughout the year. He stepped up in a number of cases. Finley had to be out at that time. I believe it was a neck injury, ear neck injury. And so he ended up filling in the finals against Yota Tsuji. And as a result, his entire story narrative shifted through the G1. And he really had to be a guy, like a gatekeeper for the old guard of New Japan in the G1. He had to be the guy that a lot of people had to go through. And by God, did he just carry that role and carry that banner all the way through. So when he got that shot at the New Japan Cup to be the guy, to be against Yota Tsuji, that was a hell of a match. And I thought about, no argument here. If you want to say that was the best match in Japan, sure, fine. I could think of another one, maybe, G1 finals, that kind of thing. Yeah. But sure, great match. And I give it more to Goto than I do Tsuji.
Yeah, I thought there were several matches in the G1, things that could have been considered here for sure. A lot of the stuff involving Takeshita and a few other things. But it was a good. And again, Goto had that sentimental favorite thing going for him that really helps a lot. The women's grand prize went to Sari, as Colin mentioned here in the comments. Sari, who's had a phenomenal year, worked with a lot of different women's companies, mostly with Muddy Gold, but has also been working. She's also worked a little bit with Stardom this year. She's worked with other companies, and she's been one of the best for a long time. And she won the women's grand prize this year. Certainly the most influential and somebody that multiple promotions go to when they need a big performer in a big match. She's going to have one against Utami, for instance, on January 3rd for Mari Gold, one of their big shows of the year. So still a critical, that's going to be terrific. And it's still a critical player in that one. The outstanding performer, another excellent choice, I thought, Yuma Anzai, this phenom from All Japan. He's 25 years old. He's already won the Triple Crown. He just looks like he's going to be a world beater. And considering Kento Miyahara is eventually going to age out of this, it's great to have a guy like Yuma Anzai there. And it's not a one-for-one replacement because Miyahara has that strange charisma that just attaches to the fans right there. But Yuma Anzai just looks like a megastar in the making.
He just dropped the title to Harry Smith, right?
Yeah, and exactly. But he's a big star for them. I'm hoping to get a look at him when I get there to Japan. But certainly only 25 years old and he's already at this level.
Let's remind people, by the way, in a month, when the Tokyo Dome coverage happens, Steven will be coming live.
I will.
From Japan, talking all the events, getting up at the crisp time of 7:30 in the morning or so to share all his wares and knowledge of what he's seen there. So that is our Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty coverage. We have live on site from Steven.
Yeah, we'll be there in my little tiny Tokyo hotel room. Just a few minutes walk from the dome. Fighting Spirit Award went to a Noah wrestler, Kato Kiyomiya. Was a choice for Fighting Spirit. And then the Technique Award went to a DDT wrestler. That was Shinya Aoki. So again, talking about spreading some of these awards around among.
It is interesting that you could have flipped Zack and Kiyomiya's awards, but they decided to go with Zack.
Kiyomiya for MVP of the year, I think, would have been a stretch. The entire year.
Could it have been, though?
No. But Technique Award, I don't know. Best tag team, the Saito brothers, Rei and Jin Saito from All Japan. They're terrific. I did get a look at them. it's an interesting thing going on outside of New Japan right now that Noah has a very aging roster. And All Japan seems to be the company that has the more exciting younger talent right now. And so I'm curious to see how, if audiences respond to that. So that seems to be the situation at the moment. And Rookie of the Year, we're back at New Japan. Rookie of the Year, Oleg Boltin.
My boy. Put a bullet in the chamber.
Still hasn't joined Bullet Club. Don't think he's going to at this stage, but at least not in the near future.
You know what? That's okay. That's okay. Not everything that I predict turns out to be true.
That's all right. Let's see. So that was the Tokyo Dome, the Tokyo Sports Awards for 2020.
We do have the Tokyo Dome on our mind, but
we do.
Awards, Tokyo Sports, every other word circling the Tokyo Dome is coming up instead.
So do we want to cover the world? Go ahead and cover these World Tag League finals, Jeremy?
Sure.
Yeah, because that's going to lead us into our King of Pro Wrestling discussion, which was the other little bit of news we got in today. So World Tag League finals in Kumamoto, they drew 2,232. That's not a bad crowd, Jeremy, really, for a town of Kumamoto. That's pretty far down south in Japan. And the only other show we have record for in that building was a Road to Dantaku house show that only drew about 1,000. So people did understand the World Tag League was a big deal and showed up for it in bigger numbers. Almost doubled the attendance from April there. But I mean, it was a bigger card, World Tag League finals. But hey, we'll take any victory we can get when it comes to crowds in New Japan at the moment. So
good.
It did, yeah. And of course, we had to do without Henare and Callum Newman. Both of them had to have their matches stopped. It just happened when we were on the air last. And sure enough, the both of them are off of everything to do with Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, and that's going to affect things for the World Tag Team titles and all that. But as we stood at the World Tag League Finals, Henare was out, so he and Great-O-Khan did not wrestle in their match against Hiromu and Naito. Hiromu and Naito ended up wrestling two of the Young Lions in the first match on the card, just to make sure that they got a match and let the crowd see them, since a lot of people paid to see Naito and Hiromu, but they didn't get the main event. And LAJ got the 2 points. So they complicated things, and in a good way, by having Boltin and Yano defeat Haste and Nichols. And so TMDK finished the tournament on only 6 points there, and that gave Boltin and Yano 10 and the tiebreaker over LIJ. Then they had Narita and Evil beat Tanahashi and Jado when Evil forced Tanahashi to tap out to a Boston Crab. So that left the LIJ team, the House of Torture team, and Yano and Oleg all with 10 points, and they had circular tiebreakers. So everyone was 1-1 against the others. So that meant we had to have a three-way match at the end to determine the winner of the block. And considering we didn't get my guess is they may have been planning to do this all along, Jeremy, but my guess is that it was supposed to come down to United Empire and LIJ in the finals. But they improvised there just to give the fans a little something on this one. But I could be wrong. It might have been the plan all along. But it led to a three-way match. House of Torture brought handcuffs down. They were at least clever with how they worked this. They didn't. They put together something interesting for it. So House of Torture brought out handcuffs. They cuffed everyone except Hiromu Takahashi to either the guardrail or the ring post. So the story throughout this World Tag League on that side of it was Hiromu Takahashi, through sheer force of will and determination, carrying his team through all this because Naito's badly damaged. And so in every match, Hiromu is doing all of it, all the things, right? Naito is basically coming in for brief hot tags and then sometimes getting the finish through cleverness, which we're going to get to in this match. But it's Hiromu who's the workhorse. So they isolated Hiromu. They double teamed him a long time, beat him down. And nobody could do anything about it because they were all handcuffed. And they teased the Young Lions going to find the handcuff key, but sure enough, it was Dick Togo that had the key. And he held on to it until Bushi made the save, knocked down Togo, grabbed the key, and then cut Naito loose. That got everybody else loose after a little while. But Naito was in there and able to help out Hiromu. He got a bit of a run going there. And then once Yano and Boltin were freed from their cuffs, Hiromu and Naito managed to handcuff House of Torture to the ring post and the rail. And that came down to Yano and Bolton versus Hiromu and Naito, while House of Torture could just watch and pathetically from the side there, the victims of their own treachery. Naito had to break up a kamikaze, but then he got the tornado DDT roll-up, the thing where he starts to do the tornado DDT, but instead of hitting the DDT part, he turns it into an inside cradle on Bolton to win it. So again, Naito gets by on guile and cleverness because he isn't able to do what he was used to be able to do in the ring. So again, story all along, Hiromu willing LIJ to victory. He sold, he took on guys 2-on-1, not to be denied. LIJ wins it. They go into the finals in Kumamoto. Overall, considering what they had to deal with Hanare and Okan and having to rearrange things, I don't know if this three-way was the original plan or not. If it was, if it wasn't. I did enjoy this. I thought it was a fun night and a fun way to end the block.
Silly, but perfectly acceptable given all the circumstances. You know, it's like, it wasn't the end of the tournament. You needed an opportunity to send the folks home happy. You needed to kind of give Hiromu and Naito a little bit of action in the ring. You know, just they had to check off a lot of boxes, and it's not ideal. Nobody loved it. You know, it's not like everyone's going to talk about, remember that three-way to end the block in the World Tag League in 2024? That was a hoot and a holler. But, you know, in the cycle of the tournament, it was fine. And, you know, the real meat and potatoes was the match after that Hiromu and Naito had. So I was fine with it.
Dunson's asking, would you consider this year's World Tag League a success? And not particularly. I mean, it seems like it was designed to do one thing that it did do in the end. It got us to a point where they wanted to go with it at the end. Was it a success? I mean, from a crowd standpoint, not particularly. It was mostly a house show tour with a couple of shows in Osaka and Korakuen Hall. It was to get a lot of the guys on the roster in front of a lot of the fans, but it was mostly a house show tour, and it was really just to lead to one particular match. It got a couple of guys hurt, which isn't anybody's fault. It was just some crummy luck. There was an angle we're about to talk about that makes no sense. So I don't think we're going to come out of this just saying, boy, what a great tour that was. I think it's going to be one of those, the people that got out of it uninjured survived by the skin of their teeth. So no, I wouldn't say it was.
Well, at the risk of offending somebody, I don't mean to offend Dunstan when I say this. Like, I don't think it matters. There's going to be a World Tag League next year. They're going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the streak of Bishamon is now broken. So maybe next year they run back with them to try and reclaim former glory, or they go with a younger team, something like this. But, you know, checked off the boxes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, some guys got hurt, but they were able to, you know, at the end of it, get to the story that we all were figuring to, which is Hiromu and Naito. We have a bunch more matches set up and ready for Wrestle Kingdom and the road to Tokyo Dome. I mean, it's not a disaster, but
World Tag League is a victim of the calendar in a lot of ways, because as we've mentioned here, a lot of those guys, because you have to sell tickets, have their matches for Wrestle Kingdom already planned out before the tournament starts. So you know that there's a limit as to how much attention that is being paid to World Tag League. There are certain people like, Oiwa, Shingo, Tsuji, they have bigger fish to fry than this. So does Zack, for that matter. You know, so some of these teams you just know are going to get points but not win the thing because there's no point to them doing so. And yes, you can have the team challenge at Christmas Korakuens. There are a lot of ways you can do it. Bottom line is the World Tag League is, because of where it is in December, and that's tag tournament season in Japan. You know, the real World Tag League goes on, Stardom's Goddess League goes on at the same time. It's been decided long before Wrestle Kingdom existed that December is when the tag team tournaments happen. And so it becomes a victim of that. And of those four tournaments, to answer another one of Dunson's question, it's 4th out of 4. I mean, the G1 is the biggest one. Mm-hmm. Then Super Juniors. Super Junior Tag League is at least entertaining and has really fun matches.
At least Super Junior Tag League gets you a match at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Against your division, a match at the Tokyo Dome.
And World Tag League is basically a way to kind of get some previews in before the Dome, and that's really as far as it goes with that, because
it's a date bridger.
Yeah, it's a bridge. So that's really where Tag League falls.
So, like the part that I get Dunstan saying, and this is where I'm going to come back and give him a little bit of credit here, is like, you come out of World Tag League and the IWGP titles are not even on, Wrestle Kingdom. The Wrestle Dynasty match is with the presumed, like, it would have been Henare and Great O'Khan, but it's Great O'Khan. And do you have any idea who you think it might be? But before we go any further,
I'm hearing rumors that Templario might be joining United Empire, so maybe Templario. Yeah, so I mean, CML, it could be a way to get a CMLL guy in there. The bottom line, either way, I think, and personal feelings aside, the tea leaves are telling me that the Young Bucks are winning these things and taking them back to AEW, because God knows we can't go 6 months without Tony Khan doing something to harm New Japan and not help his own company. So here we are with it, and I think there are probably going to be a couple of AEW guys walking around with New Japan belts at the end of all this, unfortunately. But
I could see that.
It's either way. I mean, I don't think it really matters too much who Okan's partner is, because I think this is all a delivery system to get the. My guess is right now, unless I see some things that Strong Style Evolved to change my mind or whatever, but because there are a couple of chapters of the story to be told. Looks like the Bucks are probably taking these things back and walking around the AEW locker room with them.
So, I kind of think it might be Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, I mean that would be fine. I mean, he doesn't have anything lined up, but he could be X.
But the other thing is, it probably whoever the Young Bucks want it to be. Because I think they are going to take the titles. But I think the end game for this is that Hiromu and Naito are set in a position to win the title back for the Young Bucks at another presumed date, and then they can walk around with the tag belts while Desperado and Doki and those guys are in the junior heavyweight division, and Naito and Hiromu's not like overshadowing the whole thing. I do see a good end game in this, in which if you have Hiromu and Naito defending against the Young Bucks, this is not a conquering story. This is like a come from behind. But if the Ducks win it from somebody else, and then Hiromu and Naito can be the guys to win it back for New Japan, there you have a narrative and a story that, can get you a couple of months of interest out of this whole thing. Maybe we'll see the Young Bucks in San Jose. I kind of think that that's a reality at this point. They just haven't announced it until, the Bucks win. And then,
Yippee.
Hey, I'm going. I'm excited. You can watch it from TV and then tell us how much you did not enjoy it. If the Bucks down, I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah, you probably will. All right. So in Kumamoto, we had the undercard was not much. They had TMDK get a get right win over Murashima and Kato. Bishamon got a win over the National Classics. A lot of this, the early matches here were just to kind of get people out in front of the crowd. Like Tsuji won a 6-man tag with a curb stomp on Gedo, just kind of making sure everybody that needs to look strong looks strong. And and looking at this, they had a match. One match that did end up mattering was the just 4 guys. So 3 of them, as a matter of fact, 3 of the 4, Doki, Taichi, and Taka Michinoku, took on the United Empire. And that was Great O'Khan, Jacob Austin Young, and Jeff Cobb. Of course, we know that this is kind of a hybrid tag team because O'Khan and Cobb lost their tag team partners. So Doki ended up winning with the Doki Choki. Now, Doki, by the way, has been kept very strong. He, in fact, was undefeated on this tour, won every match he had, and I believe got the fall in every
junior heavyweight division right now.
Yeah, really building him up strong. So that was nice. And then afterwards, we saw Taichi keep the stretch plum on Great O'Khan afterwards. And then he said he wants his King of Pro Wrestling match to be at Korakuen Hall. So he held the stretch plum on O'Khan long after the bell, picked up the King of Pro Wrestling belt. Of course, we believe the story all year for the KOPW has been, can Great-O-Khan get across the finish line and etch his name as the King of Pro Wrestling for 2024? Will he trip over the final hurdle? In order to get to that point, he's got to take on Taichi, who won it last year, made it all the way back to the end of the year with the title. It's a King of the Mountain type of title. So with that in mind, we will get Great-O-Khan and Taichi, and that's going to be on the 22nd in Korakuen Hall. Night one of 2 nights at Korakuen. And they announced today, Jeremy, their stipulations to vote on. Voting goes on all weekend. It starts tomorrow, goes throughout the weekend. Each of them brought their stipulations. Taichi's is a best of KOPW, 2 out of 3 falls type of deal. Do you want to go over this? Do you want me to go over it? What would you like?
So I have a couple here that Taichi selected, and that was the no rope sumo match. A stipulation by which Taichi first held the KOPW against Toriano. Then we have the Yoshinobu Kanemaru special referee match, where I think you can figure out what that stipulation is. Yeah. And then the third match, a third fall, was the Shingo Takagi style last man standing match. Now, I don't have Great-O-Khan's choices. Do you know what his are?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Please surprise me with this, because I cannot wait. I feel like me giving you one side and you telling me the other is a fantastic way to do this.
Each of them pretty much guarantee multiple people being involved in this. Okay. So you mentioned all of Taichi's stipulations are things that have happened over the course of the year. So these are stipulations that have already been in the King of Pro Wrestling match, and he's picking his best of. You can see he misses Uncle Nobu. I thought that was very sweet. Great-O-Khan. This is the Korakuen Revitalization match, also known as the Great United Anywhere Fall match. Are you prepared?
Yes.
Here we go.
Give it to me.
Either competitor can bring any number of partners to assist them in a no disqualifications falls count anywhere match. The only stipulation is that O-Khan and Taichi are the only ones who can go for a pin, but anyone can be involved. It's no DQ falls count anywhere. O-Khan said he's picking this because obviously United Empire has the manpower advantage, which seems like he is almost double dog daring Taichi to bring a new guy into the just 4 guys group so that he can even the odds on that. But voting goes on this weekend. So O-Khan, with the manpower, says, I can bring any number of my people. You can bring any number of your people, but I got more peoples. This is
the greatest shit show stipulation I've ever heard. You can bring any number of people into the ring to beat ass, but only these 2 guys can get the pin.
Venkin says, every time I'm like, this belt can't get more insane. Yeah, these are pretty crazy.
Oh my God.
And the other thing that we need to mention is that the Shingo Takagi last man standing match is also lumberjack. So that means that either stipulation, because you know it's going to go 3 falls if it goes to so Taichi's going to win the sumo thing theoretically, unless they do a switcheroo on it. And then you would think that Nobu would then hose over Taichi, but again, they could do the switcheroo. It's going to go 3 falls. Then you have everybody at ringside, or you have a match where everybody can get involved. So this seems like it's just a matter of we're going to have a battle royal going on, whichever stipulations we pick.
If this wasn't a Road to Tokyo Dome almost house show a couple of days before Christmas, God, how I would have loved the Young Bucks to come down there and be part of the United Empire's ass beating of Great-O-Khan just for one pin.
Why are you trying to hurt me? Why are you just trying to hurt me? You're just trolling me now with this stuff. You're just trolling me.
Like, the idea that this could ever possibly happen. It won't, because it's Christmas and the Young Bucks make too much money to go to, like, a Road to Tokyo Dome. But for just 1 second, like, the idea that this could have possibly happened just in the first of a King of Pro Wrestling match, it'll never happen. But it made me laugh at the possibility.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, we'll see what they come up with that. That's the main event of the 26th.
I am so interested in this match.
We also had a 10-man tag team match, House of Torture. Evil, Ren Narita, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yujiro Takahashi with Dick Togo. They faced Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jado, Bolton, Honma, and Toru Yano. Now, this one went about 10 and a half minutes, felt a lot longer. But The match ended when Tanahashi managed to get a chair. I think Yano brought the chair into the ring, or maybe House of Torture did. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who cares? The point is, he takes this chair and just starts battering Evil with this chair as best as he can. But Tanahashi's body is shot, and he can't even really swing a chair anymore without almost falling over because his knees don't work. And he lays out Evil with this chair, beats him down, referee disqualifies him. Then he does something that makes zero sense whatsoever. The match is set for the Tokyo Dome. He has the match on January 4th with Evil. He gets on the microphone and says, Evil, you want me out of here? Fine. I'll put my career on the line. Why? Why? You're already wrestling the guy. And let me ask you this, Jeremy. I'm going to ask you a very simple yes or no question. Did he ask Evil to put anything on the line?
No.
What the hell? Is Tanahashi a moron?
I think I referred to it as dumb babyface syndrome before we went to air.
This is so bad. I mean, we already talked about how the four-way for the junior tag team titles made zero sense. Right? How we got that. Now, the match, we're not complaining about the match. It's going to be a terrific match. How they got all four of those teams in the ring made zero sense. This makes even less. Why in the hell would he put his career on the line when he already has the match? When the obvious thing to do, it would be to have Evil refuse to face him over and over again. So that, fine, if it'll get you in the ring, I'll even put my career on the line. Oh, now I'll wrestle you at the Tokyo Dome, right? He already had the match, and he doesn't even make Evil put anything up. He just decides, and if I lose, I retire. Now, why is New Japan making the Tanahashi character, and this is the Tanahashi character, Tanahashi's a smart guy, but why are they making his character look like a moron? I mean, he goes in there and gets himself disqualified. That's fine. That Evil has done so many things to this guy. Him laying him out with a chair, I thought, good, show a little backbone, knock this guy around a little bit. But then to go on the thing and just say, I'll put my career on the line without him even putting up his hair, without him putting up, be gone for 90 days, nothing. I would just put my career on the line.
Nothing.
Yeah, like a moron. I just thought, and even the people in the crowd were just like, is he stupid? Like, why would he do that? He's got the match.
Did you miss a line in the whole thing? You
know, yeah. Did we miss something?
I could buy into the theory that there's been some belief in Japanese pro wrestling circles that Tanahashi was originally supposed to retire this year, and the people that left, Okada and Ospreay, that was somewhat unforeseen in some of the cases, not in the other, kind of caused him to feel like he needed to push back that plan. And there could be some kind of meta thing going in there where people think like, oh, maybe they really are going to do that kind of plan. It's like, okay, listen, they're not going to introduce the stipulation that Tanahashi's last match is happening 1 month before it's happening and then see it through, especially when he already went out in a higher press release kind of moment in front of everybody and said, hey, listen, in 13 months, I'm done. At this date, this is going to be my final thing. I'm already making plans, to go to Tokyo Dome for 20, that kind of thing. It's like, you just got to think this through. There is another full year of people who want to see Tanahashi. They're going to pay tickets for that last year of Tanahashi stuff. But this is to goose sales, to get that intrigue for people who are going to bite on, could this be Tanahashi's last match? And I get it, like the ticket sales are down. They're looking for the spark. They're looking for the angle that the newspapers and the press will pick up and, and just make it feel like a bigger thing. And if, someone picked up the article and say, this could be Tanahashi's last match, it could be a thing. But at the same time, I think about like guys like Gabe Kidd that are like hilariously burying Evil. Like his name's not Evil. He's a 37-year-old dude named Watanabe. If
Tanahashi loses to someone in a retirement match, it's not going to be to Evil. No, it's just not. And no one believes. And if he does lose, and he might on January 4th, no one that watches New Japan is going to believe it. I'm not saying that they're going, and I'm not saying that they're going to sit there and be shocked. They're going to sit there roll their eyes, and just he's coming back. This is horse crap. they're not going to sit there and believe that they're not going to walk out of the Tokyo Dome thinking, I just saw Hiroshi Tanahashi's last match. They're just like, what's going to be the silly angle to get him back in there? Because this is not,
Evil is not the top heel in New Japan. You know,
it's not even the top heel in House of Torture.
This is what I'm saying. It's like the idea that this is how like Tanahashi goes out and this is the level of reverence and like the put out on the candle. Like, no, like this is to get people to bite. This is to get the press to bite. This is to get people to like think about like, is this it for Ric Flair kind of thing, rather than it actually being it.
If they did, keep in mind, getting your head shaved in Japan is a big deal culturally, right? It's a much bigger deal than it is here in the United States. If they did career versus hair, at least that would have some steam on it.
Yeah.
Because, that's considered very humbling and things for a wrestler or anybody in Japan, really. So it's one of those things where if they had that on the line, then I think it would resonate with the fans a little bit. But right now, this is just kind of insulting. So
yeah, I mean, like it could be Shota or one of the new guys.
Yeah,
like that being it. Just kind of. That's a big match. That's a 20. It's like the herald of the new guys, the quote, like curtain for the old guys kind of thing.
Yeah, it should end with a handshake and a hug. That's how it goes.
Tears, a lot of tears, guys. A lot of tears.
A lot of tears. Yeah, and I mean, yeah. All right. So, World Tag League 2024. What else we have? We had one other thing in there. Oh yes,
we have a list of people for.
Well, no. We have TMDK, by the way, defeated Funky Sauce and Shota Umino in a preview tag right there. We got Goofy Taguchi in that one, so the match wasn't very good. Taguchi wrestled a lot of World Tag League fairly straight. Did a little silliness, but for the most part, he wrestled pretty hard. And not this match though. So this one wasn't that good. And then we got into the World Tag League finals, and that was Hiromu and Naito facing Gabe Kidd and Sonata. And this match was really good. And they fought in the crowd early, so Bullet Club had the big advantage. Kidd put Naito through a table, and that took Naito out. We mentioned that there's certain impediments to Naito doing a whole lot in the ring. You mentioned the issue he's having with his eyesight. We've talked about his neck, his knees. He's holding on for dear life to get this Tokyo Dome thing. So Kidd putting him through the table gave him a reason to not be in a lot of this match and allow Hiromu to carry it. So, of course, they worked over Hiromu. It built to a Naito hot tag, and he put together a pretty decent hot tag there for a little bit. He teased the inside cradle finish that got them to the finals in the first place with the Tornado DDT, but that was kicked out. He hit a Destino on Gabe Kidd, but as the ref was coming down for 3, Sonata grabbed the referee and pulled him out of the ring. That led to a really cool moment, though, Jeremy, that I enjoyed. Sonata hit a low blow, and then the big O'Connor roll on Hiromu that he's won a lot of matches with. But Naito yanked the referee out and pulled the heel move right there. Of course, Naito, his character, not opposed to bending the rules. Hiromu managed to kick out a moonsaults from each, so Hiromu was just willing himself to get through this. He hit Time Bomb 1.5 on Gabe Kidd, but he kicked out. And then Hiromu and Sonata ended up in a scramble in the ring. And this time, Hiromu rolled up Sonata and got the 3 count to win it. Afterwards, he got the much long-awaited congratulations and praise from his leader, Tetsuya Naito. He did. And then Naito finally said, all right, it didn't happen when we thought it was because of the pandemic, when it would, but because of the pandemic, when I was the champion, you were the champion. But now we can call our shot. Let's do it. You and me, kid. It's Naito and Hiromu at the Tokyo Dome, and it looked like Christmas had come early for Hiromu Takahashi. He was thrilled. He finally gets his dream match. He's going to get it on January 4th. It was a story that really ended up working out. I think the fans were genuinely happy to see this resolve the way it did.
Yeah. So I give it a B+, A-, the way that it all worked out. The one thing that, and I don't know if this is a quibble. I don't know if I'm looking past this or anything like that. It is December 6th that this match happens. Okay. Mm-hmm. We are a month out from Wrestle Kingdom. And the 2 individuals that main evented Wrestle Kingdom last year were not even booked yet for the show. And still one of them is not booked yet for the show.
Yeah, Sonata's not there. Sonata's not on either night, I don't think, is he?
No, but right now, neither is Bishamon. But like, this is, I don't know what to say about that other than like, I feel like that is a problem with how they have everything laid out because like, for whatever reason, to me, to have a guy main eventing, and he has done nothing wrong. He has been in the program and been in the mix and changed his gimmick to whatever he needed to be. To not have a card, a match on either one of these Tokyo Dome shows just feels like a problem to me.
Yeah, and I think it goes into the whole thing that Sonata is just in Jake Lee's spot. And they might not have been ready to use Lee at the Dome quite yet. But I understand what you mean. Sonata did not distinguish himself as champion. Mm-hmm. And really most of this year didn't particularly distinguish himself. He was just a guy that was kind of there. Doing this gimmick here with the War Dogs might perhaps end up helping him down the road. We'll see. But it doesn't make me want to see a whole bunch of new Sonata matches right now. And
no,
I'm kind of okay with him not being there. I really am. I just don't see the obvious thing would be he and Taichi. But where do you put that? Because that card's already pretty full. I don't know what you would really subtract from the Dome show and replace that with. And Dynasty is not for a New Japan feud. It's for New Japan versus other companies and all. So I think you do that. But you might do it at New Beginning. You might do it at Duntaku or something like that down the road a little bit. And I think he just got squeezed out because he wasn't in the. Sure. I don't think he would be in this position if Jake Lee doesn't tear his knee up.
Yeah. I want to see where we're at by the Cup in terms of some of these factions. Like Gabe Kidd Sonata and Jake Lee both seemed like a weird fit for Bullet Club.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe there's a Bullet Club like faction splitting where there's like the David Finlay stuff and then there's a Ghetto kind of thing. And Ghetto has a different kind of alignment with a different kind of these guys, Sonata, Jake. I don't know. Like,
we have three offshoots.
5 guys, now just 3 guys. You know, like we are in a state of flux where all of these very strong factions are all just splintered groups. United Empire. Oh my God, what? United Empire lost 2 of their mainstays. We are just. They may have to be looking at all this and thinking.
Well, you're right. You're right. And plus we have just 4 guys, like you mentioned. We also have Chaos that's pretty much just in tatters.
Chaos and Hontai are interchangeable.
Yeah, and that doesn't fit right. So
do they even call anybody Chaos anymore, or is it just Hontai?
No, they do call Bishamon Chaos, and I think they still refer to Ishii as Ishii's kind of a tweener in there, but Bishamon and Goto still mention Chaos sometimes in their comments. But that's about it. And Yano is technically Chaos. But yeah.
So it's just there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
And the Sonata thing is indicative of like a real creative flux where they just don't have something for everybody right now. And I almost think that this Bullet Club isn't working out for Sonata or not. And him not being on Tokyo Dome could actually be a story thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways you can do it, but I don't think that he had much to do with any of this. If Jake Lee his knee is fine, I think that really set a lot of things in motion for Sonata that wouldn't have been there otherwise.
The other thing that I wanted to say is that I thought the spot that Gabe Kidd did with Naito in this match, where he put him through the table and then proceeded to go in the ring and very calmly kind of like parade around, I thought showed a little bit of maturity in terms of the way that Gabe Kidd is healing up his act. Yeah. You know, in the past, he would have really turned it up to 11 and tried to like put the attention on himself rather than what he just did to Naito. And instead on this one, he was the impact of what he did to Naito ferociously putting him through the table at ringside and then just being in the ring, just kind of calmly pacing, I thought was a fantastic moment for his character.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I think he has matured a lot in his performance and in getting this character down and understanding when to go full blast and when not to. And that has been a key to, I think, the second half of his year being very, very strong, and
Yes.
multitudes better than the first half of the year. And I've talked about some of the things that happened in the first half. I'm going to lay off of that. There haven't been any problems in quite a while, and a man can mature and grow. And I think that's what's happening with Kid. I think he is growing into that role.
Welcome,
and it's starting to work.
Welcome, Steven.
No, but I mean, he deserves some of that guff.
No, and you were critical when you felt you needed to be critical, and I didn't push back in the way, because like you could feel that way, and like he's had a great second half of the year, like you said.
Yeah, and again, even in the stuff with like the character work when he does commentary with Walker, when Chris Charlton isn't on the road, this past time, much better than the previous time, where he was just too into that character,
Too many Red Bulls before going on, and
yeah, he's starting to get the nuances of it, and
he went a little caffeine free this time.
So he's starting to get the nuances, and that's a big deal. All right, so do we want to look at the show coming up this weekend, or do you want to talk about the people that have been announced? Now, this is down the road a little bit for the upcoming San Jose show, because we have a list of people that will be there. We don't have matches, but we have a list of people who are going to be there. So do you want to start in Long Beach, or do you want to talk San Jose?
Let's just pop on the show from a month from now, so we just kind of get an idea what we're looking at.
Okay. So we know that Zack Sabre Jr. will be there. We know that Gabe Kidd will be there. We know Konosuke Takeshita will be there. So all those people have championship belts at the moment. They're announced as being there, but again, not in any particular match. The other names for San Jose: Jeff Cobb, Tomohiro Ishii, El Desperado.
Hell yeah.
Azumi, Mina Shirakawa, Micah, so a strong Stardom presence in there. Hanako, another Stardom wrestler. And Shane Haste, Bad Dude Tito. Rocky Romero, Royce Isaacs, Jarrell Nelson, and Dirty Work, Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser. So that is what we are looking for in San Jose. Tells me a couple of things here, and all stuff that we suspected, which is you don't need to announce these names yet. So they're feeling very good that Jeff Cobb, certainly Zack Sabre Jr., don't have to worry about them maybe taking off in the middle of the night. But interesting which foreign wrestlers are not officially announced. Not to say that they won't be there or can't be there, but I think they're being cagey with some of these guys, perhaps learning a partial lesson from last year.
No Mercedes Mone. I thought that was interesting.
No Mercedes Mone. No David Finlay.
Yet. But
right.
we also
I'm
don't
just
have.
saying, but let's be careful, right?
So they have Gabe Kidd, and they're very strong on putting Gabe Kidd on there.
Yeah.
No Naito, no Tanahashi,
no.
none of the like the biggest star that is like native Japanese, I have to say, is probably El Desperado right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Despay's in there. Yeah, that's probably it. No Doki at the moment.
Nope.
Yeah. Could be added. I mean, these Desperado doesn't have an opponent, so to speak. If you look at this, there's no junior heavyweight opponent right there. So it could very well be somebody. They'll announce more names and they'll put the matches together and all that stuff. But I just
do you think the Young Bucks are going to be on that card?
Probably. I would say.
I think they are too.
60 or 70%, yeah, I would think, unless they have something in mind.
The only hitch in this giddy up is that the Tanahashi rule that the IWGP titles are only defended in Japan, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't show up and somebody challenge them for a match in Japan and some kind of thing.
Did I forget Rocky Romero? Dunstan's telling me I forgot Rocky. Oh gosh, Rocky Romero, guys, he's going to be there too. You can't forget Rocky. He's critical to all this stuff.
The disrespect, Steven.
I apologize if I missed him.
I don't want to presume anybody is winning anything other than Takeshita probably winning every belt that he comes across.
Yeah.
Until January 7th or so.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of a thing. I feel bad for poor Will Hobbs, who's getting set up for a title match with him at World's End right now. Like that poor bastard. Like, could they just wait until after all this to give him like a pay-per-view match? Because, it's like New Japan has already pretty much given away the game in both like TV and print. They're like, for all intents and purposes, Takeshi's going to have the title in Wrestle Kingdom. So, like, somebody told them that they can say that.
Well, Venkin asked, is Azumi winning the belt at Wrestle Kingdom? I think this is the most jeopardy that title has been in since it touched Mayu Iwatani. Just because no one really knows for sure. We think we know that Mayu might be packing up and heading out, but when we talked to Scott Edwards, everyone assumed that as soon as she got the second she could, she was going to go with Rossi Ogawa to Marty Gold. Then we talked to Scott Edwards a few weeks ago, and he put it at about 70-30 that he was going to go, which was 99.5 to 1/2 a year ago. So things changed a little bit on that, but I think Azumi would be an outstanding choice. For one, she's a phenomenal wrestler. She has gotten over in the United States before. I think she's a good choice for it. And could very well be the time to do the switch, especially if they wanted to protect themselves from someone who might be going to a rival.
I wish I knew where I heard it, but I felt like I heard somebody on a podcast kind of say that Rossi Ogawa is not exactly the most popular person in Japan right now in the wrestling circle. So
he never has been. He never has been.
But it's just a little bit more right now.
Well, but Mayu, it's different with he and Mayu. I mean, they're
Mayu's had the belt for so long that it's just kind of time to it's okay if somebody else gets that belt.
Yeah, would be. All right, so we have a show in Long Beach to cover, and that's Strong Style Evolved, and that one is Sunday, and it is on your NJPW World. Does not look like it's a pay-per-view. It looks like it comes to your subscription.
Super exciting.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that card, Jeremy, and see who we have lined up for Strong Style Evolved on Sunday. So we have, again, for us watching at home, there are some house shows that are not going to be televised on NJPW World. We'll have this, and then we'll have Korakuen Hall on the 22nd and 23rd. That's it until the Dome. So each one of these is pretty important. We have the Strong Survivor match, Matt Vandegrift and Zane J. Now, this is actually a rematch. They've wrestled for the Strong Survivor spot before. We've postulated in the past that maybe it's time for Vandegrift to move on to the regular Strong Style roster, the NJPW Strong roster. So maybe this is time for Zane to win this and start a new chapter of this whole Strong Survivor thing. I mean, somebody eventually needs to knock the King of the Mountain off the King of the Mountain, or it just doesn't go anywhere, right?
I feel like he needs at least 3 or 4 matches as a heel to really heal it up, to really get his character the seasoning that he needs to graduate to the thing. He hasn't been heel enough,
all right. I think Zayn might win this. It's the first time they've ever run an angle where someone challenged him for it. It's always been just a match that's announced before. So I feel like they're telegraphing something with it.
I hope so, but I've been fooled so many times. My heart has been broken so many times, Stephen.
Fair enough. You're heartbroken. All right. That's the opening match there. They always make that the opener. And then we have Johnny Robbie taking on Mina Shirakawa in a singles match.
Was this the match that set up in Rev Pro a while back?
I think it was, yeah. And that's it should be interesting there. And again, we have Mercedes Mone on the card. So as always, watch out for the winner of a special singles match coming back out afterwards. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Robbie won this one too, because they have that Rev Pro match and they set it up and they haven't actually. I don't know if they've actually gone through with that match. I don't know. Mina Shirakawa should be winning, but who knows?
Mina's another one that's probably heading to North America more than Japan in the coming years or so. We will have the Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions. We have James Drake and Zach Gibson, the Grizzled Young Veterans, taking on West Coast Wrecking Crew. So hopefully this will be a good match. I mean, it seems like on paper it would be a really good one. So I'm hoping it lives up to that.
This is first title defense for Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah, they won it from TMDK at the last Strong Style show in Massachusetts.
If this were AEW, I'd be a little worried for Grizzled Young Vets' chances, given that they lost to the Outrunners within weeks of being competitively balanced with the Young Bucks and FTR. But this is not AEW. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I suspect that their title reign will sustain past the West Coast Wrecking Crew. However, I look forward to enjoying.
Dunstan is saying that Goto and the West Coast Wrecking Crew are always the bridesmaid, never the bride here, that they are destined to come up short time and time again. By the way, Dunstan also asked about what did I think about TMDK, Haston Nichols not being involved on the card for the Dome. Talked about it a little bit recently. They seem to be getting de-emphasized. It just seems like New Japan is ready to move on to other things than Mikey and Shane right now. They've lost both their belts. They had a rather lackluster results in the World Tag League, and it might be that New Japan is just thinking, well, it's time to move on to other tag teams right now, because they seem like they're being rolled down the card rather than headed up. So anyway, here we go with the openweight titles. Grizzly Young Veterans, West Coast Wrecking Crew. That's early in that card. Then we have this one. This is a 4-way match, and it is one person in each corner. Now, this is a preview of the junior heavyweight tag team match.
Right.
And so we have one representative from each team. We have Connors, Kushida, Kosei Fujita, and TJP. You know what's interesting about this one, Jeremy?
I think you're about to tell me that they have a parallel match happening in Japan with the other 4 guys on the road to Tokyo Dome.
That's right. So Drilla Maloney, Kevin Knight, Robbie Eagles, and Francesco Akira will take stage in their own 4-way match at Korakuen Hall. So we'll see both sides of it. But
I thought that was really clever booking to kind of do it that way.
Yeah, nice little. It'll be a nice, interesting way of leading up to the big match in Tokyo. And again, this one should be terrific. I mean, all 4 of these guys are really good.
Hey, if you are going to this show, check Clark Connors' Instagram, because apparently he is putting together some kind of pre-game meet and greet at one of the restaurants near the show. So if
Nice.
that's kind of your jam, look up the Clark Connors Instagram.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun match. And then we have Leo Rush and Hechicero, which is
what the fuck is this match doing here?
2 names drawn out of a hat, but hey, I'm not going to complain. They're both really good.
In a vacuum, this match is going to rule.
Yeah, it will. I think it's going to be really, really good. But you're right. It's random as all hell.
Like, I looked at this and I was like, sure, okay. And I will tell you, and I'm going to say it again, I am so glad this match is happening in New Japan. Because there will be a minimum amount of, like, real bullshit. This is just going to be 2 guys wrestling a good match with, like, some type of clever finish. And I couldn't tell you who would win. I kind of think Leo Rush, but if Hechicero won, I wouldn't be shocked either.
Yeah, if this were in Arena Mexico, it would be a fantastic match. This is going to be a fantastic match. It's just, it needs to be in the right hands.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for this match. When I thought of, like, okay. I was like, I'm willing to spend $20 to watch this match. And then I found out I don't have to.
You don't have to. It's a good day. All right, next. All right. So Hiromu Takahashi teaming with Titan, another CMLL representative, against Templario, now with the United Empire, and with the colors in his mask to go for. They had the graphic ready, Jeremy. Look at that. It's got the UE colors in the Templario mask. That's a really cool mask. I love Templario's mask. And he's teaming with Jacob Austin Young. So a new member of United Empire, Templario, Jacob Austin Young against Hiromu and Titan. We know that Hiromu ain't losing the fall here. So other than that, it's just a matter of who does. But again, it'll probably be some pretty good action.
Hiromu's in the semi-main. He's pinning Jacob Austin Young.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, that's, now that Henare is out of this match, that's what it seems like to me. Can we Templario in United Empire via Capitan TJP's Twitter announcement was one of the most LOL WTF moments I've had in a while. I was like, sure, whatever. Like, Templario's awesome, right?
Yeah, he's great.
It's just like, there was a minimum amount of opportunities to do this, but why wasn't this on the World Tag League Finals?
Well, right? Yeah, no, I do understand what you mean. It's an interesting point there, and fair enough. If they just couldn't get Templario in Japan for that one, you get him in the United States,
or even like just a video. Like, they put the video on Twitter.
Yeah,
like, why wasn't this video on the World Tag League Finals? Like, it was the day before.
It's awkwardly executed. It is right there, but I kind of like the idea that factions have branches in around the world. If you can get the alliance working with these promotions to do so, I like it.
Yeah. I'm totally into all this. It was just one of those like, boy, these guys are scrambling right now.
And I think it adds a little bit for Fantasticomania too, because I'm sure he'll be over there with the UE and Teton over there with LIJ. So yeah.
All right, next one.
So, and Venkat saying, what did I miss? Random Twitter new member. The TJP announced on his X, I guess it's X, whatever it is, Elon Musk's cesspool of a site, that Templario is now a member of United Empire. He's the latest recruit to UE. So
he is one man replacing two unreplaceable members.
Yeah, because we really have no idea how long Henare and Callum Newman are going to be out. Strong open-weight title match. We have Gabe Kidd, the champion, defending against Ryohei Oiwa. So, yeah, again, the strong open-weight champion doesn't necessarily have to be protected, but neither does somebody who's challenging for the TV title. So this one could go either way. I don't know if it's time to take the title off
going either way.
I don't think. Well, I would be very surprised if Oiwa won, but you could make a case for it. I think Gabe Kidd's probably going to retain right here. And Oiwa, not quite his time yet. There will be a time for Ryohei Oiwa, but I don't think it's yet.
In no way, shape, or form, if Gabe Kidd losing any match before he's facing Kenny Omega.
Yep, that's probably true.
In my mind, there's nothing. Like, this is going to be a great match. These guys are going to beat the hell out of each other, but Gabe Kidd is not losing this match. And Kenny Omega is not coming back from Japan to give him a one-winged angel in the middle of Long Beach.
I thought it was interesting, Jeremy. I was listening to the We Work Stiff from a while ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to be on there, by the way. Keep your eyes and ears out for that. Jeremy and I are going to record a segment with the We Work Stiff guys for their special stiffness show. There's going to be a whole slew of guests.
We'll be contributing to 10 hours of New Japan Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle content.
You're only slightly exaggerating, I think. That show's going to be very...
It's going to be like 10 hours.
Oh, my goodness. So, but Stiffness is coming, and we're going to be part of it. And
Chris Charlton, Righteous Reg, Phil Lindsay, us, the main attraction, the Keep It at Strong style guys. There's a whole Super J-Cast is going to be on there. We're going to be featured among greatness.
And we have a thing here where I don't know if you saw them talk about it, how the Gabe Kidd Kenny Omega confrontation was a mirror, or not a mirror, but it's certainly inspired by the Jack Perry CM Punk thing. And that the way that whole thing went down is Kenny's artistic interpretation of the Jack Perry CM Punk confrontation at AEW, which entertained me a little bit. That's a little Easter egg Kenny dropped in.
Meta/therapy session.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
All right.
After that, Zack Sabre Jr., Bad Dude Tito, and Shane Hayes from TMDK in a preview match against Shota Umino and Dirty Work. That's Rosser and Lawler. So really not a whole lot to this one other than we're going to get a little bit of a preview of Umino and Sabre before the Dome. We're not going to have too many of them. There's going to be another one in Tokyo, of course. These guys are going to be on those Christmas Corkins, and they will be meeting in preview tags throughout that tour, most of which we will not see. But this is another chance for us to see Challenger and Champion in there together.
No Mikey Nichols in the near future. Not here. Not on the U.S. show in San Jose. I think it's really interesting. I wonder if
remember we had a thing where Haste was missing for a while, and we only had
Haste is on this one, and he's listed as one of the names for San Jose, and he's been training and teaching at the LA Dojo for a while.
Right.
So, I got nothing to read in anything, but Mikey Nichols is probably doing a lot of headbutts. Maybe they don't want him doing a whole lot of headbutts anymore.
Anyway, next match here will be special tag team grudge match, and this one should be really good. It's Konosuke Takeshita in a preview match against Shingo Takagi. So Takagi's partner, Yota Tsuji, and then Jack Perry on the other side. So it's Takeshita and Perry against Takagi and Tsuji. And, of course, Perry is going to be wrestling Tsuji at Wrestle Dynasty, and that could be for the global title. They finally made that clear, by the way, that
I like that they did all that.
Yeah, me too. If Zack wins, obviously it's a title match with Ricochet at Wrestle Dynasty. If Shota wins, then his match with Claudio Castagnoli will be for the IWGP title. Similarly, for the global title, it'll be David Finlay against Brody King for that title on the 5th if Finlay wins. But if he loses it to Yota Tsuji, that makes the Yota Tsuji Jack Perry match a global title match. And of course, Takeshita is facing off with Shingo in the match that I can't wait for at Wrestle Kingdom. The winner of that one gets Tomohiro Ishii, who is smarter than everybody, and will get a shot at 2 titles if Takeshita comes into that with the AEW International title. But this match here at Strong Style, preview of all that. Tsuji, he wants at Jack Perry for attacking him. Takeshita and Shingo want their preview match, so this should be a pretty entertaining tag.
I never had it in my bingo card that Jack Perry and Takeshita would be in a tag team together, but it's probably going to be a great match and a lot of fun. And if these are the guys that, AEW is sending over for the New Japan show, it's like pretty good. I'm kind of into it, great.
Yeah. And House of Torture Jack Perry works for me better than the other versions of Jack Perry that we've seen. So he was strong in that role when we saw him in the spring.
So I am here for all of this. I kind of think that the LIJ side, yes, we are getting Shingo Takeshi to Kingdom.
I think we surprised Venkin with that one. I didn't hear the announcement. Yeah, Shingo and Takeshita, and any titles they carry are going to be on the line. So if Takeshita comes in with that belt, that's on the line too. Winner gets Ishii at Dynasty.
So Okada and Takeshita, I feel like they're circling each other. Perry is tied with Okada. There's a lot of weird stuff, but when it's just like, hey, let's just put these guys in a match together, it works, kind of. But you just look past everything and enjoy this match.
Yeah, so we just have 4 really good wrestlers in here. So
yeah.
And then the main eventing this show, the NJPW Strong Women's Title, HAZUKI from Stardom challenging Mercedes Mone. Again, this is somebody that Mone really likes to work with. She's faced HAZUKI before, and I believe it was a 3-way match. And HAZUKI's a great, great wrestler. I liken her to Goto in that she always seems first of all, she's in one of the best tag teams in the world, just like Goto is. And then she tends to get to these title matches, but not win them. I would expect the same thing here. I don't see HAZUKI upending Mercedes Mone, but I can definitely see perhaps Mina Shirakawa coming out and challenging Mone afterwards, which I think would be a draw in the United States. But either way, we're taking a look at that. And Mercedes Mone defending against HAZUKI should be a wonderful match. I expect Mercedes to retain and then get her microphone time afterwards, which is part of the point of all this. But should be terrific because HAZUKI is a very, very talented worker.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match because anytime that Mercedes ends up doing these matches with the Japanese talent, they end up being really good. And so I always enjoy it, and she's motivated. It may be the last one that we see for a while, apparently, because the way that her schedule lines up doesn't really have her doing anything but AEW shows. And so, Takeshita might be the new hot flavor du jour that is the top AEW star doing the New Japan shows for the foreseeable future. Because Mercedes has done them for almost a year now. It feels like she came back from AEW. She kind of put in the investment and started doing those shows too. And she came back, May? But she started showing up in January. God, her whole return thing has just been a labor of something.
Yeah, it's been odd, but the thing is, she's got other irons in the fire too. She's going to be at Wrestle Dynasty. There's a 4-way match at Wrestle Dynasty that could tell us a little bit about the future there. And it's important to remember too, Stardom has really been putting a lot of stock in the Yokohama show they do in the spring. And I think they're going to want Mercedes Mone for that as well. So that could be a special attraction type of thing too for her.
Can I double back to another match that we're talking about and a slightly weird prediction?
Sure, go ahead.
Let's see if I can find it. So this match is on Sunday night, right? And so
tell the podcast people what
the Shota Umino, Fred Rosser, Tom Lawler versus Zack Sabre Jr., Shane Haste, and Bad Dude Tito match. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the Collision taping that is happening the night before.
Okay.
I don't see Ricochet on the card.
Okay.
I think possible that Ricochet could show up at this match afterwards to further the Wrestle Dynasty angle.
It could be.
And that could be the hot little angle that they try and do to goose that one up as well.
There you have it.
Just throwing it out there because it just seems
that.
kind of like maybe that's one of the last things they need to do. All right, what else we got here today?
Well, should we clarify what the matches are officially? Because there have been a couple of changes for Dynasty and Kingdom. So why don't we go through Kingdom first, and then we'll go through Dynasty, and let's just make sure that we're all on the same page here as January 4th and 5th approach.
Okay, let's see here.
So Wrestle Kingdom, we're going to be, and we have the match order too for that one. We know what those are.
I'm looking for it right now. I have it all messed up here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's all right. But we do have a couple of announcements mentioned that the tag team titles have been vacated, and they've made a special match to have new champions at Dynasty. But at Wrestle Kingdom, first night of the 2-night event, we're going to open with Kevin Knight, Kushida, Robbie Eagles, and Kosei Fujita, TJP and Francesco Akira, and the War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney, 4 corners, 4-way tag team championship match for the IWGP Junior tag team titles. This harkens back to some of those matches they used to do when they would just throw everybody in, Red Dragon, Young Bucks, time splitters, and just it'll probably be 10 minutes of a lot of fun. But anyway,
party match.
Yeah, and we're just going through these quickly. We're going to preview the hell out of this show before it's over. But,
first of many times we're talking about this full card for Wrestle Kingdom.
We just want to get it straight. So again, take this in isolation, guys. Think about this card. This card's loaded. I mean, as far as quality of matches go, I understand that maybe it's just not the mind-blowing Wrestle Kingdom moments thing coming, but pick a bad match out of this that doesn't involve, a guy whose body is just broken down. I mean, but think about these. Mayu Iwatani versus Azumi for the IWGP Women's title. Should be phenomenal.
Yeah. Like I said to Earth, this might be the time. It's a big match. Tokyo Dome. Azumi could have that big moment.
It's the second match. What's third? 3-way title for the TV championship. So this is Jeff Cobb, Ryohei Oiwa, and Ren Narita. All right. So that'll be the third one. Next.
Platform spotlight match into it.
Then we get the Tanahashi Evil match we always talk about. Shingo Takagi against Konosuke Takeshita for the never open weight title. If Takeshita is the AEW International Champion, he will put that title on the line too. This is can't miss.
The possibility of Hobbs taking the title before this match cannot be ruled out, but I don't feel strongly that is viable.
Doki and El Desperado. So here are two wonderful. Doki's just having a career year. Desperado's El Desperado. He looked pretty healthy at Historic Crossover. He hasn't been wrestling a whole lot. He's been kind of resting it and working his way toward the Tokyo Dome. Should be a fantastic one for the junior heavyweight title. Yota Tsuji against David Finlay for the Global Championship. And that's going to be another one that has the subtext of the Uemura dynamic with it. So Tsuji versus Finlay, Global Heavyweight title. Tetsuya Naito against Hiromu Takahashi, the match 5 years in the making. And the main event, Shota Umino, challenger Zack Sabre Jr., the champion. And that's going to headline the Wrestle Kingdom 19, Zack Sabre Jr., Shota Umino. Then we move on to Wrestle Dynasty. We mentioned that there's a 4-way match in the women's division. CMLL is going to have its own 4-way match. Ring of Honor will have one. AEW will have one. Stardom will have one. The winners of those 4-way matches will advance to Wrestle Dynasty and have another 4-way match. And that winner will get a title shot at any champion in any company that they want. So you just get the open book right there. And we know who the CMLL representatives are. Jeremy, if you go back to that real quick, it's Reina Isis, Zeusis, Persephone, and Sanali. And so that
have they had the match yet?
Tomorrow. If you look at the bottom of that day, it's the 13th. So Friday the 13th, that's tomorrow night at the Super Viernes, the Super Friday show in Arena.
You got any guesses?
Boy, the thing is, Persephone, I think that the underdog would be Sanali, who hasn't really had any presence in Japan before. Persephone could. She's kind of young. to me, I think it's going to come from the left side of this graphic. Zeusis or Reina Isis would both be good representatives right there. If I had to pick just one, I'm going with Zeusis, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going with Zeusis too.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So the ROH candidate will probably be decided at Final Battle, and they have 4 people there. Do you know who they are?
No, but I have a feeling that one of them is going to be Willow Nightingale. Who's probably going to win the thing. Or
no,
is she in the AEW
not. She is the AEW representative. So to Billy Starks, it is Athena. Mm-hmm. It is Layla Hirsch.
Okay.
And I believe I'm so sorry, I can't remember the last person. But it's gonna be Athena. You know what I mean? Like it just
I would love for her to get that stage. I would love for her to get that showcase, considering she, the time that she has put in with that ROW title. I would love to see her get that stage at Dynasty and have that match.
I believe it is Jamie Hayter and Willow Nightingale at World's End to battle for that spot, which will then leave the it is Red Velvet as the 4th person in the in the Ring of Honor. Thank you, Venkin. Then that'll leave the Stardom, which I'm hoping that Scott or you will be able to enlighten us as who that is going to be. But it's going to be a good match. Willow, Athena, Zeuxis, and whoever from Stardom. Like, these are all women that can go, and they all have a different strength. The big woman, the Lucha, Athena, just all around, just great in the ring. It'll be fantastic.
After that one, Tomohiro Ishii will face the winner of Shingo Takagi and Konosuke Takeshita from the night before. So, again, can't go wrong. We'll get into the preview with that. I have a feeling that Takeshita's coming away with everything there, but we'll get into why later. But either way, it's a can't-miss match. Can't miss. And then we will have Yota Tsuji and Jack Perry. Could be for the global title. Might just be a special singles match, but Jack Perry, Yota Tsuji. David Finlay against Brody King in a name pulled out of a hat match. Nothing against Brody King, but this is not the.
I wish it were Jay White. When Jay White was put in a 4-way match with Hangman Page and Orange Cassidy against Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title, I felt like any hopes of him being prioritized for Wrestle Dynasty right out the window. And another day and another time. And these 2 matches, this David Finlay and Brody King and Yota Tsuji and Jack Perry matches, the winner of the Yota Tsuji David Finlay, like Steven mentioned earlier, will then be a title defense for whoever the New Japan talent is against their respective opponent.
After that, it is Great O'Khan and a mystery partner taking on the Young Bucks. The winner will be the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. The Young Bucks.
Stop, Steven. You're too excited. You're wearing me out.
Next, Shota Umino and Claudio Castagnoli in a special singles match. And again, if Shota wins the main event on the 4th, this will be for the IWGP title. All signs lead to Shota's headed straight for Jon Moxley someday, just not quite yet. And then we have Ricochet and Zack Sabre Jr. in a special singles match. I would imagine, Jeremy, they haven't officially announced this yet either, but whichever of these 2 matches is the World Heavyweight title match will probably be the main event at Dynasty. Right? They are saying that specifically.
They're kind of tipping their cards at the same time too.
Well, they haven't really said that, but they've been amending this card as it's gone along anyway. So
right.
Zack Sabre Jr. right now, he's the champion, so you have this on last against Ricochet. The idea, if Zack wins, it'll be for the IWGP title.
So the Ricochet heel turn is happening in AEW.
Yeah, well, that matters.
And they're really trying to build up to that because they kind of need that to happen in order for this match to have anything whatsoever.
Yeah, they need a little steam on it there. But, I mean, look.
No. They don't need steam. Ricochet needs steam.
I guess that's what I mean. Zack's fine, but, yeah, you could use a little heat on Ricochet. But the point is, this match is going to be terrific. These guys have wrestled each other before, and it was great every time. Mm-hmm. So no reason to think it will be any different. Yeah.
It's just, they need to put some fire on the stove.
I saw Ricochet in a very, very small building against Sammy Guevara here in Austin for Wrestle Circus not too long ago. A very small building. You know, you crammed 300 or 400 people in there, and he still managed to find incredible things to dive off of and jump from and onto things. And Sammy was really good in that match. So Ricochet with an entire dome to work with, a lot of interesting things could happen.
I hope so. He's missing something, and they are giving him every opportunity to try and find it, but they need to find a shovel to find the charisma, and right now that shovel is being used to bury him.
Oof. Wow. All right. Well, see that, you know, that again, there are all kinds of issues with AEW TV, not their pay-per-views, but their TVs. Their pay-per-views have some of the best action.
He had the cringiest promo with Renee last night, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening here, but I do not like you right now.
Oh dear. All right. Well, hopefully they are able to right that ship before the big day. So,
yeah. I want to say thank you, Venkin. Evergreen.
Jeremy's 100% right. I don't remember
what that was about, but
I think. Oh, you know what? I do. I think I did. I think it was when you said the Gabe Kidd ain't losing until he faces Kenny. I think that was what. And you're probably right.
100% right about that one.
And you're probably right. I'm just saying that with some of New Japan's booking lately, we can't feel 100% positive about anything.
Okay, just one more time.
Okay. All right, fine. There it is. Jeremy's 100%.
What else we got? Are we coming under time today?
We're coming in a little bit under time today, but it's just don't forget we have Power Bomb shows 1:00 Eastern on Sunday,
yes,
Dynamite show, all those things. Colin has something here. He says, before you go, did I see that Abima have done it again? Nakamura New Year's match in Noah will only available in certain markets. It's a stupid business decision on their part. That has to be very, very frustrating that that's the case. And Nakamura is going to be back with Noah again, and it will only be available in certain spots. I don't understand that either, Colin. I don't know why Abima does that. I'm assuming there is a reason, but I have no idea what it could be. I don't understand why they would restrict it by choice. But man, that's got to be frustrating and disappointing. It really should be available everywhere, and it does not look like it's going to be. So, yeah. A lot of interesting goings on that week, but it does seem like there are some weird, just weird stuff with where some of these shows are available and where they aren't. And I don't know why they wouldn't be, but I don't understand how some of those contracts and legalities work either, the paperwork. So it's very odd that isn't available where other stuff is. I'm puzzled by it as well. What can I say?
So, hopefully everyone gets to see it somehow. You know, even if it's to sail the high seas like a pirate, I hope that you get an opportunity to watch these shows.
Well, hopefully if it's on Noah, maybe it'll turn up later on Wrestle Universe, or I don't know how it all works, but yeah.
So we'll be back next week, probably the week after, doing everything live every week. Should not have any interruptions for us for any of the holidays going forward. So, just throwing it out there for you.
We will be covering the Strong Style Evolve show and any news that comes from it going toward Wrestle Kingdom. And then we will be looking ahead to the Christmas Corkins. That's what we're going to be doing here next week. And Colin says U.S., Thailand, and Korea are the markets where it is available. U.S., Thailand, and Korea for that one. Geocoding. Very puzzling. So sorry, Colin. I know that you were looking forward to that and you don't get to see it. That is.
Hey, if you're still listening, please like, subscribe, thumbs up, do all the deals, share with everyone else the amazingness of Speaking of Strong Style. Spread the gospel, spread the word, spread the speak, if you will. Thank you all so much. We love doing this show. Appreciate you all the words, all the graciousness. Just the time of year where I wanted to just say thank you.
Arigato gozaimasu, absolutely. So with that in mind, we're going to sign off for this week. We'll be back with you next week and to talk about all things New Japan Pro Wrestling. As always, we appreciate your time. So for Jeremy Finestone, I am Stephen Conway. This has been Speaking of Strong Style, and we will talk to you again real soon.